place and a real match taking place. Batistuta! Oh, what a fantastic hit!
Trapattoni's a manager this year as well, so you can sort of imagine, I guess, how they're set up. But yeah, I think it was all very much geared on get the ball to that front three of Rui Costa sitting in behind Batistuta and Balbo.
Sorry, just on Batistuta then, sorry. And forgive me, it was the long-range effort was the next phase against Manchester United. This one was in the box.
Yeah.
But what was so typical of, you could see it in Serie A so often, is that you think he's going to take another touch, and that other touch is in the net. And he would release before the viewer thinks it's time to release, certainly before defenders thought it was time to release, regardless of where he was on the pitch at times. And that kind of explosive thing, I guess. You said at the time he's the second best in Serie A. Adam, David, would you go along with that? Scholars of international football think I don't agree, by the way, but a touch overrated because he's filled his boots in 2 World Cups against Greece, who were terrible. The Reggae Boys of Jamaica with the 2 hat-tricks against them. The rest are kind of penalties, I think, against England, Romania, and maybe a goal against Japan. So his numbers look huge, but maybe battling against an open door.
That's bad, yeah.
But for club, I guess his career choices, he should have more medals, really. I think that's, I guess, what it comes down to. He's going to do it in a couple of years at Roma. But he should be dripping with them. Should be keeping fit, just wearing them about the house, really, because he was that kind of good.
He did kind of effectively what Kane did last summer, which he was very, very, very happy at Fiorentina. I mean, he loved it. He loved Florence. Understandably, but he wanted to go win things, and that's why he goes to Roma. I tend to think, Martin, a bit like you, this is the proving ground. Did he score goals in this tournament? And if he did, then because he scored, Adam's right. See the 4 years in a row he gets over 20 goals in Serie A. Remember the quality of defending and the type of football that was played there.
That's 40, really.
That exactly. I mean, in the Eredivisie goals, it's about 300, and I think that if you take that into account, Argentina, there's so many egos and there's so many different players, and the coaches are usually mental in this era. That I think that for me, this is the measuring stick, and he was always capable. But he was one of these players who found a club. He loved them, they loved him, and he was quite happy there. But he does eventually say, actually, do you know what, I'd quite like to win something, and he goes off to Roma, and of course famously they strip him to his jockstrap on the park. And he was such a wonderful footballer because, as you said, Martin, it's the ability to first of all to conceive, I can get a shot away now, and then to have the balance and everything ready, and then select the right shot and then execute it. It's such a tough skill. These are top defenders we're talking about in this tournament, and top goalkeepers, and he's getting the ball past them because they simply are not expect. That to me indicates this is a skill that nobody else at the time possessed. They weren't facing people who did this because they weren't set for it. That I think is pretty special.
Yeah,
I think he's also, Martin, you'll probably roll your eyes at something like this, but he was quite idealistic, I guess, in the sense that he got to Fiorentina 21 in his second season. They got relegated and he decided to stay. It was a kind of an emotional thing, I guess, rather than a going in and chasing money or chasing trophies. And I think that, like David said, they really had a big bond with him. I mean, he's probably their greatest ever player. All the goals to get them back up.
Yeah. They have a statue of him. And remember, in Florence, there are plenty of statues, but they're generally, but a wee bit more artistic. But yeah, I know, Martin, that you hate this, but I think there is a sweetness to it. But I think it's alleviated by the fact that he did then say, lads, I've given you a good run here. And the Fiorentina fans didn't grudge him it the way that they might have done had he buggered off, which the usual move was to bugger off to Juventus. And that would have annoyed them. But I think that they saw why he was doing it and what the outcome was. I think it says a lot, by the way. He goes to Roma, who are not dripping in titles in their history, and he wins one.
Yeah, well,
I think that probably helps, doesn't it? The fact that I'm going to go because I want to win something, and then you actually win something. I guess there's a vindication there, but you're right. They never really held it against them. And to be honest, I can't really blame them, because if they were going to win it, it was probably the season before. I think they finished third that 98-99 season. It was the Milan Lazio last minute last game thing there where Milan ended up winning under Zaccaroni, which we'll come to. So I think at that point it was this is our sort of closest chance to it, and then you see Lazio and Roma starting to come to the fore a little bit, and it's not unrealistic to think, given the squads that that both of them had, that you could be thinking they're going to go and dominate for the 2000s in the way that Juve and Milan have in the 90s. So in a way, you kind of don't blame